Hello, this is Eileen Nauman. I'm a little late. I try and get a Gem Mystique out every month, but sometimes there's other things that happen. But today we're going to talk about ruby. We have some interesting things about ruby that probably most people don't know. First of all, did you know that sapphires and rubies came from the same type of chemical mixture and makeup? Most people don't know this. I have to make that clear because today we're just going to talk about rubies. However, whatever we talk about ruby is going to be about a red stone or a pink stone, and sapphires come in all colors. They still share the same parentage, if you will. Corundum is one of the hardest known natural substances after a diamond. It rates number 9 on the Mohs scale of hardness, with diamond being a 10, the hardest of all gemstones. In addition, because corundum is so hard and resistant to weathering, it can be found in metamorphic formations or igneous, which is your volcanic, your lava, your basalt formations. And to make things more confusing, ruby is defined as red corundum. The presence of chromium is largely what makes a corundum gemstone red. All other varieties of corundum, anything that is not red, are classified as a sapphire. And sapphire contains a mix of some different chemistry, such as chromium, titanium, and iron traces. Any sapphire can be any color but red. When it is a red sapphire, it is called a ruby, providing there is only corundum present, along with the proper tone and saturation being present. They are hexagonal, 6-sided crystal structure. And remember this, as we go along, only ruby is red. The most desired type is called pigeon blood red. It's a deep, transparent color. As you can see here in this graphic, we have one ruby, and then we have a whole bunch of beautiful sapphires. These are all magnificent gemstones. Ruby is found in Myanmar, which is Burma, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Australia, India, Russia, Africa, and in North Carolina, USA. Burmese rubies are the rarest gemstone in the world due to their intense red brilliance, accentuated by pink. The majority of red rubies are mined in Burma, and then they are heated to improve color and clarity. Natural color specimens that are inherently pure and bright are extremely rare, and they're also extremely expensive. Rubies that originate from Africa, particularly Mozambique and Kenya, generally give off a purplish or dark red color. A ruby's bright red comes from chromium. If the stone is pink, that's a fusion of iron and titanium, which is what makes a pink, quote unquote, ruby actually a sapphire. Below in this graphic is a sapphire rough, and it is a beautiful pink color with the chemistry that I just mentioned. Let's get into the more spiritual and energetic area of the gemstone now. First of all, I have named ruby as a master healing stone. There's only a handful of gemstones that fall into this category. These stones have more energy than others. They also possess a laser-like focus upon the physical and astral body, and they work on all chakras, not just one or two. And that is why I call them master healers. It is classified as a master healing stone. Ruby is also a high energy stone and a strength stone. So let's talk about high energy stone. There is a select few gemstones that can actually give us physical energy. We're fortunate to have them around. Some of these gems hit you with a noticeable jolt of energy. Others are more subtle, and you will find yourself realizing after many hours that you still have the same level of energy that you started with. These gems give you endurance at a more subtle level, but it's there, and you will see it prove itself out over a day's time. The strength stone. These are gemstones that connect with our deeper core values of this personality in this lifetime, but they also connect with our soul, who has far more strength built up in it as a result of hundreds of thousands of lifetimes, more than likely. This is the phenomenal magic of strength gemstones. They're able to access this vault of built upon and earned spiritual strength from your soul, so that it can help us get through some present difficulty, a test, an initiation that we're putting ourselves through in this lifetime at this moment. It feeds us so that we don't give up, we don't despair, or we want to check out because the life lesson is too hard to deal with. So anytime you're feeling really down and you're carrying a lot of loads, automatically think about getting a strength stone, such as ruby. And you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to do it. You can get mine run ruby, which is opaque. It's not transparent, and it's very cheap. And you can put a stone in each pocket, your right and left pocket, and that will continue to feed and give you the steadiness and the groundedness to go ahead and keep moving through this gauntlet that you're presently going through or did go through. Strength stones are wonderful. I've used them many times in my life. So let's talk about the overview of ruby. I said I evaluate a gemstone in a number of ways. First, it falls into one of these categories, and I've named most of them. You have the heart stone, the grounding stone, the guard dog stone, a high energy stone, trauma stone, mental stone, stress stone, luck stone. Yes, we actually do have one. Psychic stone, a money stone, arthritis stone, and master healer stone. I created this system over the years because each stone has unique skills. Some, like the master stones, are diverse, they're multi-skilled, and they affect more than one chakra in our aura, or more than one field of our 9 fields of aura that we have around us. We're going to look at the ruby, and astrologically, it is ruled by Mars. Mars is masculine in the positive sense. In a negative sense, it's also toxic masculinity, depending upon where the person is at with the Mars in their astrology chart. Every planet, everything has a negative side to it and a positive side to it. It has the darkness or it has the light. So if you're in the light, you have positive masculinity. If you're in the dark, you have toxic masculinity, which isn't good for you or anybody else. The energy contained within it is about passion. Now, I don't want you to run off and think, oh, passion equals sex. Yes, it does, but it's 1/10 of everything else that passion means in life. Ruby is a powerful and radiant life force of energy. It loves being physical. It loves being outdoors, and it's a part of nature. If you have these attributes, and these are very important positive things in your life, then ruby is probably going to be very attractive to you. You shouldn't wear a stone that doesn't call to you. Let's just put it that way. If ruby calls to you, then chances are you're going to have some of these keynote physical features, such as being outdoors and being a part of nature, hiking, fishing, hunting, whatever you like to do. It is considered a stone of protection since ancient times. And if you quote unquote desire or have a passion for life is lagging, then wearing a mine run ruby, which is very cheap to buy, in your left pocket. And they can recharge your battery. You get more energy. Do not wear a ruby to bed or you won't sleep well at night. Don't put it under your pillow. Don't put it on your person. I wouldn't even put a ruby in my bedroom. That's not the kind of stone you want, and try to sleep. Put it out on the kitchen counter or somewhere you'll see it in the morning. Astrologically, Mars rules over fierceness, focus, a warrior, a fighter, standing up for what is right, passion in body, mind, and spirit. Mars is a planet of action, attack, and moving forward into the fray fearlessly, always ready to take on a good fight. Mars rules over the planet fire, inflammation, swelling, and redness of our skin. Chances are, if some of these adjectives and adverbs fit you, then you're probably going to make a good friend of ruby. Health-wise, if you have, say, like a disease like cancer, my teacher, Oceana Fastwolf, who is an Apache, a Mohawk medicine woman, who is considered on Turtle Island, which is North America, the best and most knowledgeable, experienced medicine woman in gemstones ever, no matter what the nation was. I was very fortunate to be sent by my teacher to learn from her. So a lot of the information that you have here that I'm going to share with you comes directly from her. If you have cancer, she was adamant. She said, this is a stone you will not wear nor drink ruby charged water because it increases productions of cells. And it also speeds up cancer cell multiplication, according to her. Instead, cancer patients should only drink emerald charged water. More on the health implications about ruby later. Oceana also found that people who either had rheumatoid or osteo should steer away from wearing ruby for the same reasons and should go to garnet. Now, garnet is a beautiful gemstone. It can be opaque. It can be absolutely clear and flawless. It's more of a purple stone, purple red stone. But garnet, according to her, is a step down because it is more gentle for the person and equally effective at working with their symptoms. Photos of a garnet rough on your left, and then the one of them, which is faceted in the graphic here of the right photo. They are a very beautiful gemstone, and they are easy to buy in rough for very little money. Lab-created rubies are made using the same materials that can be found in a natural ruby ring. They are identical in their chemical composition, but lab-created rubies are less expensive than natural ones. And unlike natural rubies, they are not flawed. Most people cannot tell the difference. Only a jeweler who's been trained can tell you if it's lab-grown or if it truly came out of the earth and from nature. A ruby can be damaged by mild acids such as lemon juice, and it can damage the surface of the gem. The amount of damage an acidic substance can cause is higher for rubies with fractures or cavities or who are dyed stones. When you dye a stone, if it's a ruby, you're going to put it in a red coloration and have the red color absorbed into the ruby in this case, and it's going to become more red when it really isn't. And you can always take a ruby to a jeweler and they'll know whether or not it's been dyed or it's been heat treated. Similarly, boric acid can cause damage to the surface of heat treated and untreated rubies. If you want to drop your ruby into a small glass of boric acid and it changes color, you know that somebody dropped it in some red dye color and you probably got ripped off because the jewelry industry charges more for a good red ruby rather than a semi-red ruby. So ancient Hindus believed that those who offered fine rubies to the god Krishna were granted rebirth as emperors. Hindus divided the ruby into 4 castes, calling the true Oriental ruby a Brahmin. Someone in the possession of a Brahmin was believed to have the advantage of perfect safety. Below genuine ruby rough, this is what it looks like before it's faceted in this graphic here. Let's go into the history of ruby. Ruby has a long history of being connected with luck, fortune, passion, vitality, anger, fury, power, and love. It was worn historically by royalty and has been called the quote-unquote king of gemstones. I don't know why we can't call it the queen of gemstones either. I'm all for everybody being able to do that. Traditional wisdom has it that a ruby should be worn on the left hand to promote good luck, making them a popular choice for engagement rings. I know in other videos that I've done that I've told you that on the left side of us, if you draw a midline right down the center of our human body, the left side of us is feminine energy and it draws energy into our aura. On the right, from the midline to the right side of the body, the masculine energy sends energy out and grounds it into the third dimension and manifests it and builds things like skyscrapers, ships, being a carpenter, anything that is on your right energy side, you're sending out to somebody else. So if you put a gemstone in your pocket, your right pocket, you're sending that energy out to everyone else around you. On the other hand, if you put a gemstone in your left pocket, then you're drawing the energy into and around your aura, and all of your chakras are taking it in also. So to be balanced about this, I always tell people to have a small mind run gemstone of your choice and put one in your left pocket and put one in your right. That way you're balanced. And that's a good thing to be. It's the best of both worlds. Like I said, mine run gemstones are very cheap, and you should be able to do this very easily. Okay, being an ancient gemstone, the ruby was believed to have certain magical powers, so the wearer would be blessed with health. And that is very true. You have to remember, rubies in India, everyone who was not necessarily a king, but a Raja, or a man in control of a state in India, they all wore rubies. The more rubies, the better, because they always worried about getting attacked or getting killed or getting taken out of their seat of power. So ruby was very magical for them. Also, legend has it that rubies originated in the Mogok Valley in Burma, which is Myanmar, when it was a part of China. 2,000 years ago, as the story goes, as the myth goes, as it's been handed down through the ages, a dragon laid 3 eggs. It created the rise of Bagan, the emperor of China, and rubies were created or birthed in the Mogok Valley by the dragon. And to this day, China reveres and honors the dragon nation, in part because of the gift of rubies that was given to them, to the emperor. Rubies can be found in metamorphic rock and are created by the heat and pressure applied to them. It's also found where marble is located. In the USA, the Cowie Valley of North Carolina has a ruby deposit, along with sapphires and emeralds that are found there as well. There are several mines there, Cherokee Ruby and Sapphire Mine, Old Cardinal Gem Mine, Mason Mine, Gold City Gem Mine, Rockhound Ridge Gem Mine, Sheffield Mine, and Rose Creek Mine. And so if you're interested in, when you live in the US or you live near or on the East Coast and want to visit this place, you might run these through a search program on the internet to see which ones are still in business or they aren't before you go. Another North Carolina area is a town of Franklin. It too has ruby and sapphire deposits. However, the mines have produced some gem quality rubies. There is also the Jackson Hole Gem Mine in that area. Near Phillipsburg and Rock Creek areas of Montana, you will find sapphires and rubies. Ruby is usually found in Rock Creek area, and they're known as the Montana Ruby Red. Near Phillipsburg, you will find amazingly beautiful sapphire rough, both large and small stones, and it looks like a rainbow of colors as you sift the dirt away from them. It's not unusual to find pink sapphires, but that does not mean necessarily that they're in the area of ruby in disguise. It isn't. A pink sapphire is a pink sapphire. Only a jeweler would be able to decide if they were or not. There is Jim Mountain Sapphire Mine, the Phillipsburg Rock Creek Jim Mountain deposit, and it's the largest producer with 4 times more sapphires than all of the other Montana deposits combined. And below here is a graphic that actually is a photo of the pink sapphire rough. And this is what they look like when they come out of the ground. Because ruby is associated with one's passions, that can include our drive to create something. Perhaps it's artistry, dancing, music, writing, sculpting, or whatever focuses you on your mission to do something in your life. And it has caught fire in your life, and it's a driver for you. It's something you want to do, you love to do, and you just focus in on it. That's passion. And that's far greater than just sex. Remember, passion has a large playing field that we can work on. Your focus is on your mission or your vision. Ruby supports that fully. Just take time out to rest every once in a while. It affects our sexuality and drive as well. But Ruby's world is far, far larger than just physical sex. A Ruby person's vision is focused on what they intend to learn, experience, and build or create in their lifetime. They're like an arrow shot from a bow, and they put that gem's firepower, if you will, to work, and it feeds your desire to be successful in your goal or in your vision, whatever it happens to be. In an unbalanced human being, firepower means something very tragic. Anger and rage are always compared to ruby energy and vibration. If the person isn't mentally balanced, he or she, less likely, will pick up a weapon, including a gun or a rifle, and murder people. Innocent people. You never give anyone who has mental issues ruby to wear on their person because it can exaggerate their already out of balance emotions, warp them, and cause all kinds of havoc within them and possibly to the outside world around them. These people need a green stone, such as a mine-run emerald, which is intent on helping that person to achieve a balance and harmony within themselves and cool things down, so to speak, especially with their fragile emotional state that can harm themselves or it can harm others. This is a photo of mine run ruby and how it appears coming out of the mine in this graphic on this slide. Ruby and women. This is important, very important. My teacher calls Ruby a warrior because it didn't matter whether the person was male or female. The stone brought out the masculine side of traits. Now, I'm going to diverge for just a second to Carl Jung. And I've already talked to you about the right left side. And he too said the same thing as the Native Americans, because the Native Americans knew about the left and the right energies and what they do also. We women have a feminine side and a masculine side. So do men. It's no different. The left side of men is feminine, the right side is masculine. We own the same nomenclature, if you will. My teacher pointed out that women who have been abused by a man may turn and move into her masculine energy and fight back, not cower, but divorce him. No one should be abused, ever. I usually don't work with Ruby because it's masculine energy expression for me. I'm a matriarchal female. It turns up my masculine warrior side more than I need it to be. That said, this is a male patriarchal world, and women are looked upon as only good for certain things: sex, making dinner, and giving that male a son, and also controlling women and their reproductive rights. Feminine energy in general, whether it's woman or man, and women as a whole, have been suppressed for 6,000 years. There's a time coming shortly where women aren't going to take this anymore, and Ruby can help them meet, meld, and become forthright, fight back, fight for fairness, and attend protests, get involved with women's rights issues, with anyone who is the positive movement that will unlock women's terror of being burned at the stake once more and standing up for equality and respect instead. And if the woman is feeling very timid, she should be wearing a mine run ruby in her left pocket. That's going to give her more courage. Ruby is good at feeding that kind of stalwart confidence, standing up for yourself energy, and who is tired of being taken advantage of, disrespected, and we receive less pay than any male. Ruby will give a woman more confidence, focus, not be afraid to confront a male any longer. Feminine wounding and suppression is global. And now that Pluto has moved into Aquarius for the next 20 years, the tables are going to turn. I urge all women who are looking for internal courage to speak up, bring her voice, ideas, and creative vision to the world. and to vote. Get involved with other like-minded women and matriarchal men who side with their women and support their freedom, equality, and being respected. It's time to make a stand, our voice heard, and Ruby will be our best megaphone. Okay, let's talk about Ruby and how it affects men. Every gemstone has a positive and disempowering side to it. Ruby is one of those gems that if the person is arrogant, egotistical, full of himself, overconfident, bossy, belittling others, especially women, a bully, are just some of the dark side of Ruby. A small child who will throw temper tantrums because he hasn't been taught how to harness his anger, justified or not, in a physical or hurtful way can occur. Aggression, in your face, willful, feeling full of himself at the expense of others, always claiming he's the hero. And I'm sure you've heard this one, toxic masculinity at its finest and most distorted, which we have right now with the patriarchal males of this world. I would not give a person like this Ruby at all. He and his patriarchal society have suppressed their feminine energy, which is their left side, and has turned into a male who hates women that we know so well today. It's called misogyny. If anything, a calming, harmonizing gem like emerald would help him come back to a normal state of balance. One can hope. The patriarchal society has made most men zealously focused on their job and its outcome. One must be a winner every time, the hero in the man's mind. When in reality, he is stepping all over all the women and other males to control them in order to justify that he's king for a day. Patriarchal society taught men, which is what we live in, by the way, the world is patriarchal for the last 6,000 years. Men have been taught never cry or show his feelings and stuff his heart, his emotional intelligence into a dark hole that would never see the light of day. This is what we have in our world today. This is how little boys are taught and grow up. Men are only in their head mental, never their heart, if they're patriarchal. They must hide their feelings no matter how raw or wounded they are internally and energetically as an outcome. Can you imagine living half a life where you aren't allowed to deal with your heart, your emotions, your tears? I simply cannot. So what does it do to a man? Today, male hatred of women is at an all-time high. Murder of women is up statistically. Rape of a female child, young girl, teen, adult woman are also climbing exponentially right now. By suppressing half of the man's life, it not only is hurting him, he harms women instead, and also, which is the wrong target. The real target is the patriarchy, which holds that man, controls and owns everything, including women. What is wrong with this picture? Women certainly can see it because they're the ones that get hit and called out and bullied and paid less. And now we have the Republicans and the MAGA people trying to control women's bodies and the reproductive system. It's not going to work. Come November 2024. Ruby's super masculine energy must be transformed from men using only their mind and their mental faculties into learning how to allow their heart and their emotions to once more take its proper and equal place in their lives. Living in your head all your life, to me, that's only half a man, not a whole one. All head, no heart. As they say, all hat, no cowboy. Ruby lies at the heart of the matter, and the emphasis is on heart, not only the physical one, but the symbolic one and our emotional intelligence one. By men allowing themselves to reconnect with their emotions, their feelings, the intelligence of their heart, which is their intuition, which they usually disregard, and they shouldn't, It will start to erode and dissolve that hatred toward women and the world at large. This gives men permission to be whole for the first time in a long time. Ruby also symbolizes our heart and the circulatory system, our arteries, veins, and capillaries. Matriarchal males are opposite of the above patriarchal males, and a breath of fresh air for this planet and for women. These boys have been taught since birth to respect women as equals and that they are just as smart as any man. Being around a man who is confident but not lording or controlling a woman is a wonderful storybook ending for both sexes. It's a true win-win. Each gender is honored for what they bring to the table, their knowledge, wisdom, and experience. That can't be either masculine or feminine. It's both. Two heads are better than one. But even more important, the matriarchal man has not only moved into his heart, he can be emotional. He can cry. He can ask for help or support, like women do already. He also divides housework, household duties, feeding a child, changing diapers, just like any woman does. He is an Aquarian age man, one that women adore, respect, and who is part of a village where everyone helps support one another. We need billions of this type of man, not the patriarchal kind of male. He is passé. Mars, the warrior planet, is the root energy of Ruby. The higher octave of it is Volcanus. And yes, Volcanus means volcano too. But Volcanus is also one of the Greek gods who was the blacksmith in the dynasty of the Greek gods. It is one of the 8 Uranian planets that you can use in astrology. It is concerned with explosiveness, firepower that is either directed like a laser or an out-of-control eruption. Mass murderers with guns, volcano eruption, bombs, weapons of war, and nuclear war. Mars, at its dark side, has a survivalist mentality. It's all about one's masculinity, regardless of sex. Women especially need to wear Mind Run Ruby in her left pocket so that this confidence can flow through her, even though it has been suppressed or repressed by the patriarchal society. Mars fears no one, and women need to address this fear, acknowledge it's there, but just go ahead and do what you want, start to finish. If you have a transit of Mars through your astrology chart, Mars makes an orbit around the sun every 22 months. And when it aspects a major aspect in your natal chart, you put on your warrior duds and go out and fight for what you want. It doesn't mean picking up a gun and shoot and kill someone. That's not where I'm going with this. It means in a balanced human way, regardless of gender, that you wade into your mission and use it positively to build your vision and your future. Progress Mars in your astrology chart heralds a time of putting on your warrior suit and a mentality to go with it. There may be a war, quote unquote, in your life, such as a divorce, legal issues, moving across the country, leaving home, or starting to build your dream or business into a reality. Passion is a sign of Mars energy for sure. So focus it squarely on what you want to see change and grow and how you are going to create it from a dream to reality. There's going to be a lot of action, activity, work, and yet excitement, challenge, and going for the brass ring for Ruby people who really resonate with the stone. It's going to help them achieve those things. This is a time for the woman or man to take their dream and make it a reality. Those with vision will work consistently toward it and manifest it into our 3D world. Ruby has a connection with the south direction of the medicine wheel. Every direction on the medicine wheel, northeast, south, and west, as well as the minor directions, each has its own personality and its own energy expression. And at its finest, South energy is about the playful child who finds life curious, interesting, engaging, and exciting. Risk takers are found in this direction too, because it is ruled by the fire element. And again, we see that Ruby is ruled by Mars, which is fire. So you can see the dovetailing that's going on here and a melding of that energy. Those who are south-oriented will always be found in careers that involve risk of some sort, or their hobby will involve risk. How about climbing up a cliff? I'm not one of those, and I'm not a spelunker, which means you go down into caves and do kind of the same thing. People with a healthy south energy, even if adult or elderly, still have their childlike fascination with life. They are optimistic people who are fully connected with and living their life to the fullest. They also have a wonderful sense of humor and can find laughter even in the darkest moments. Black humor resides here in this position. And of course, people who are ruby people tend to get into situations where the black humor does bubble up because they're usually caught between a rock and a hard place. They got to figure how to get out of it, and they will. On the unhealthy side, there is extreme rage. Rageaholics are found here. Angry people who are out of control or can lose control and hurt or harm someone else. Now, switching this a little bit to children who have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD are also found in this position. Anyone with extreme restlessness, inability to focus or complete a project, have reverse south energy expression, and they will be immature or stunted in emotional growth, so that no matter what their age, they still haven't come out of their teen years yet. Going back to children with ADHD, being bipolar, having dyslexia are also found in this position. Anyone with extreme inability to focus or complete a project have reverse south energy expression, and they will be immature or stunted in emotional growth, no matter what their age. And like I said before, they never got out of their teen years because that's where the immaturity is. Who should not wear ruby? Anyone who has a disease, cancer, or any disease that deals with cell multiplication, and this also means benign tumors are an example of this, cannot wear ruby at any time. People with ADHD or bipolar disease should not wear it. Those who are high-strung and nervous shouldn't wear it either. The red fiery energy of the gemstone increases cell multiplications to its highest degree. As I said before, Ocean of Fast Wolf warned that if a person who has the disease of cancer, they should not wear ruby, but wear emerald instead. From a love and emotional standpoint, a person who is jealous or envious should not wear ruby. It will exacerbate these feelings and make them 10 times worse for the person who has them and for the other partner. Never wear ruby to bed. You will toss and turn all night and not sleep a wink. I guarantee it. Ruby and the heart are one, as in the cardiovascular system, which is our heart system, that surrounds it in the form of veins, arteries, and capillaries. High blood pressure is a concern because ruby men in particular have hitched their patriarchal anchor toward always being successful, always being first, and always being at the top, and always being right. These are men who have heart attacks and heart issues, and it shows up in their mid-40s. However, if you are a ruby, say, matriarchal man and not tied to the patriarchal ideas of what is really success, then one hopes that your heart isn't about winning or claiming a dynasty or creating another corporation. Rather, having a job or career where compassion, kindness, generosity toward others is who you are, because you see this as a win-win instead. If you are like this man, then you don't have to worry about high blood pressure, high cholesterol, strokes, or heart attack. You're safe. Blood issues for men and women, such as any number of types of anemia, can and do crop up in both sexes. Blood clot issues, leukemia, hemophilia, bleeding out, or the blood does not clot, or there's too much iron in the blood, or if you're prone to nosebleeds, particularly during childhood. Lymphoma is another type of cancer that affects your lymph system, and sickle cell anemia for our African American people, among others. For women in particular, they can potentially suffer from endometriosis, uterine fibroids. With the bladder, it would be cystitis, ovarian issues, pregnancy issues, heavy blood loss during the period, as well as, unfortunately, having sexual violence done against you. Anything having to do with this blood is Ruby's domain. Boys, in particular, are being diagnosed more and more with ADHD, autism, bipolar, dyslexia, and other disorders of the brain. Women who are quote unquote high-strung nervous types, they do not need Ruby. In fact, if you have a child or a young teen with any of these diagnoses, do not allow them to wear amethyst, Herkimer diamond, fluorite, ruby, or any of the quartz crystal family, as it scrambles their brain waves. If they wear ruby, then their brain races, it becomes hectic and erratic in their behavior and completely confuses them. If you want to calm them down, think of an emerald, and you can see the video that I put out on emerald already, or one that I'll be doing later on this year is petrified wood. For a man who wants to get in touch with his emotions, think about bloodstone, garnet, hematite, jade of any color, moonstone, peridot, which is beautiful yellow-green stone, emerald or rose quartz. Wearing a tumbled stone in the left pocket over time will begin to dissolve the patriarchy and get you slowly but surely in touch with your heart and your emotions. It will be a journey, but it's one of the most important you'll ever undertake as a man in your lifetime. Ruby, warriors for the light. If you are a woman, wear a Mind One ruby in your left pocket, and it will awaken your battered feminine side far stronger, focused and ready to stand up to the patriarchy and infuse you with super confidence. If you are a man, the question is, are you patriarchal or a matriarchal male? One wounds women constantly and suppresses them at every chance, seeing them only like a chair in their house and not a full human being. We don't need warriors. We need peacemakers. Your matriarchal males are peacemakers. They don't want war. I think that almost all people, except for patriarchal males, long for peace around our planet. And the matriarchal man needs to wear emerald. And again, you can watch the video on that instead of ruby. Matriarchal males live in a world of emotions, their heart, and see women as equals and to always be respected. Their lives are enriched as a consequence. He can wear ruby with a clear conscience, for sure. Ruby is a powerful stone in its own right. It's not taken lightly, nor should it be worn lightly. If you have too much energy from it, then stop wearing it for a few days or weeks. You can find your own energy engine or your balance working with ruby, and you'll know when you've had too much or not enough. Ruby brings out the worst and the best of us depending upon our choices. It can aid, abet, and support you in your dreams and reality, or the opposite. So this is it for Ruby for today. If you have any questions or comments, or if you've had a relationship with Ruby as a stone, I'd love to hear from you. So we will say farewell for now, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.